In 2005, a driverless Volkswagen Touareg named Stanley won a $2 million prize by becoming the first autonomous vehicle to successfully navigate the 132-mile DARPA Grand Challenge. Experts say there's a bounty estimated to be in the trillions of dollars awaiting the winners of the next big challenge, delivering driverless vehicles to the marketplace. Big money is betting on the automation of the trucking industry, where analysts say technology will eliminate $100 billion in annual costs, primarily from the elimination of drivers. The Truck Boss Show took a deep dive into this critical issue to give our readers a clearer picture of what's happening, who's at risk, and what truckers can do to prepare for the road ahead. In this segment, the first in a series, we explore the current landscape and why some truckers are worried.
Automated vehicles have the potential to save thousands of lives annually and improve the quality of life through reduction of traffic congestion, increased productivity, and environmental benefits as well.
Productivity, of course, means doing more with less. And that means the elimination of some trucking jobs.
I think some of those who are driving specialized equipment, who are in real niche markets where they, they've got specialized skills, I'm not really that concerned about their future prospects. I think, those are generally drivers that the technology is going to take long enough to get into the market that they'll retire long before this stuff is going to be operational in those segments. Those individuals who are out taking dry van and refrigerated freight as a backhaul and might be mixing it up with some bigger carriers in terms of competition, that's where I think the concern really is what's going to happen to those markets, right? If a Swift or a Prime or someone like that is able to adopt these self-driving trucks in really important lanes that, right now, let's face it, the individual owner-operator, they're not competitive in those lanes, right? They're not going to be going head-to-head with Swift and Prime for loads, but they may need some of that freight as a backhaul here and there that they're getting through a broker, whatever it is. What's going to happen to that general market, right, and those rates if we have these self-driving trucks? There are a couple ways that this could play out. If the big carriers have their way, I would say, the most likely future is one which I call autopilot. So you have an inexperienced driver. Maybe they're a typical driver for a Swift or Prime. They've got 6 months of experience, right? You put them through a training school. A couple weeks later, they're behind the wheel of a rig, moving actual freight. They do that local driving. They close the trailer doors. Truck takes over, drives itself, for 6, 8, 10 hours, that driver then, gets behind the wheel again, finishes the load. That's, a situation which I don't think would be desirable for most of these inexperienced drivers, but it looks a lot like the system does today. But what you get out of that is that increased asset utilization. So you're not constrained by that, the hours of service the way that they are. And when we look at these trucks in these big fleets right now, maybe they're driving 7.5, 8 hours a day of revenue generating miles. That's all they're getting, 1/3 of the day. The other third, the truck is a hotel room on wheels, right? And the other third, the driver's unpaid, doing, paperwork, inspecting, waiting to be loaded and unloaded, right? So really poor efficiency, right? That's one of the consequences of cheap labor in this segment. So that's one scenario. Now, what does that do, for length of haul? Right? It increases what you can capture from rail, but also what you can capture from some of these owner-operators who are getting more hours. And then the second model is really something that's truly driverless, right? And in this one, you have that human driver come out, right? And they're basically a local driver. They come out to a spot near the interstate, they uncouple from the trailer, and you have something that looks like these really futuristic trucks without even a cab. Right, that picks it up, transports it 400 miles, and then your human-driven truck comes on get. That's kind of the two major modes. Both of those, what they mean for owner-operators is, that general market, the rates are going to go down. And that's the big concern that I have for that segment of the market, for sure.
Mike Landis, CEO of the U.S. Transportation Alliance, says most of the elected officials he's talked to have already made up their minds in favor of automation.
Most of Washington is behind this, whether they put it out to the public or not, that they are.
8 states have already approved autonomous truck testing, and the U.S. Department of Transportation has earmarked $60 million in 2020 alone for autonomous vehicle research and data collection. Cars and trucks are already being equipped with forward collision avoidance systems, automatic braking, and blind spot elimination. And one developer has already applied for an hours of service exemption for vehicles equipped with their autopilot technology. Even roads are being adapted and connected to vehicles and traffic controllers via new 5G towers. Road signs are being embedded with machine-readable QR codes, and lane lines are being marked with materials designed to be picked up by sensors. Tune in next week for part 2 of our series, in which we'll examine some of the autonomous trucking projects already underway and the timeline for a nationwide rollout. For the Truck Boss Show, I'm Brad Kuhn. I'll see you down the road.